And we're back. No sign of stopping this virus situation. Well, here we go. June. A white overcast sky spread out today. This time's assignment is different from usual. In front of the hospital, my head was full of anticipation about a person I haven't seen yet. In the middle of the long hallway, I saw the doctor and spoke to him. So, are you really fine with it?
ぜひともお願いします。
Even if you say that. At my wishes, the doctor showed reluctance. For me, still being a university student, isn't a burden too heavy? That was probably the unspoken meaning behind it. The patient is, well, you know, right?
もちろんです。だからこその担当志願ですし。
When the doctor still continued looking doubtful, I pressed harder. The source of this was my volunteering to be the helper of a new patient to the hospice.
ちゃんと教会からの推薦状もいただいてきました。
As I spoke, I handed a single sealed envelope over. Here, the domain of extraordinary acts was not decided by only the hospital itself. The wishes of the church often also had influence. All right, I'll inform the director.
ありがとうございます。
Giving a deep bow, I left the place. A helper's application for a 7th floor assignment. That, in itself, wasn't a particularly strange occurrence. Moreover, up until now, I had served 3 hospice patients already. Considering my age, that was a rare amount of helper experience. It could be said that I was a veteran. As to why it was rare, in normal hospitals, no matter how much a person volunteered, it would have been difficult for a university volunteer to be stationed at a hospice. No matter how short-handed, the place called the hospice was afforded that consideration.
でも、ここはキリスト教病院。
And moreover, even compared to other places, it was more strongly a religiously oriented place than medical services oriented.
そして私はカトリック。
Someone who, before her earliest memories, received the waters of baptism, who actively engaged in public welfare activities. These were probably all of the reasons.
だけど今度の担当はいつもと違う。
The patient was a child, and also not just a child, one without guardians and bedridden. Essentially, a child with no relatives, no parents. Of course, that didn't mean the child had no parents at birth. While cruel, leaving a bedridden child, and vanishing just like that, there were many of those kinds of parents. I didn't want to accept it, but that was also reality. And such a child, with no place to go, no relatives. The first to take the child in would be a Catholic hospital like ours.
もしくは最後の砦と言ってもよかった。
In that merciful stance, it was that aspect of Catholicism itself that was my reason for being faithful. That's why I was not a devoted follower. It didn't matter if it was Baptist or Protestant. I probably wouldn't have cared. Though I had been baptized before I had memories, it was just a coincidence that I was born and raised in a house next to a church. But even if it were a coincidence, I didn't have the resolve to want to swear lifelong service. I was simply a follower just of that merciful spirit. Different from the usual 7th floor, today was to the 5th floor. Headed to greet the Nello I still hadn't seen. The word Nello was a term between us helpers and nurses. Resident of the 7th floor, child, without relatives. Bringing those together, most likely, it had probably been a name taken from a dog of Flanders. It was a pretty disrespectful naming, but even now, I didn't know the truth behind it. When I came, it felt already long established.
ただ悪 意を持っての呼び方ではないのだろう。
The reason it was whenever it was known that Nello was coming. The number of doctors, nurses, and helpers who sought the assignment was great. That sort of situation was probably because this was a hospital following Christ's teachings, which aimed at a self-sacrificing attitude. And then among those, the helpers assigned to Nello were called, with both respect and jest, Aloy. In reality, Patrash would have been closer.
でも私たちは一緒に死んであげることはできない。
That was why they were called the closest best friend, Aloy.
そしてこの私もアロア役を求める一人だった。おはよ
う。Raising her body up in the bed, a girl looked this way. Above her knees, perhaps because it was just past noon, was an already eaten lunch tray. Her voluminous hair left an impression.
あら、偉いわね。ちゃんと残さずに食べたのね。
本当はブロッコリー嫌いだけど、それでお姉さんは？
ああ、自己紹介がまだだったわね。今度、あなたの担当になったヘルパーよ。
As I answered, I opened up the certificate and showed her. A child of this age, it might have been pointless, but showing the person now was a set thing here.
じゃあ、これからよろしくね。
こちらこそ。
He responded with those words, but she looked this way with a puzzled expression.
でも、ヘルパーって何？
That was unexpected. It had been likely that there were lots of things she didn't understand, but I hadn't thought it was to this extent.
お医者さんや看護婦さんとは違うの？
それは。
I wonder how should I answer that question? Someone who took care of them. Normally, that probably would have been fine. But from here on out, what faced this girl was the 7th floor, and I was her helper, the Aloy for Nello. Normally, unless one were notified, one couldn't be admitted to the 7th floor, meaning they've been informed that they had already run out of treatments. To be direct about it, the pronouncement that they would die. After they receive the explanation, and the hospital receives their agreement, they are finally allowed in. And that was exactly why in many general hospitals, hospices were not offered to children. However, Nello's were different. This place was different. Moreover, if both parents had been Catholics, then even more so.
どうしたの？お姉さん。
ごめんなさい。
While thinking over the question, what is a helper? I have fallen silent.
そうね。まあ、友達みたいなもんよ。
お姉さんが、私の？
だから、何でも遠慮なく言ってね。
Quickly, I began cleaning up the tray that the girl had already finished eating.
ごめんなさい。
いいのいいの。友達なんだから遠慮しないで。
I continued speaking to the girl who was still acting reserved.
それにね、嬉しいのよ、私。
どうして？
実はね、以前から年の離れた友達が欲しかったのよ。
私も、お姉さんが欲しかった。
じゃあ、決まりね。
As I spoke, I held out my hand.
これからもよろしくね。
こちらこそ。
In the burning sunlight and the sound of cicadas, the hand I touched for the first time was warm. A summer day which was soon transferred to the 7th floor. And so, we became friends. Nello and Aloy became friends. A few days later, as usual, I headed to the girl. As the early cicadas began to call in earnest, today again looked like it would be a hot day.
おはよ
おはよう。
The same as yesterday, she lightly raised her body on the bed and exchanged greetings. Just a little bit. She seemed to be lowering her guard, but still, somewhere the girl was reserved.
もう朝の検温は終わった？
6度5分だった。
そう。だったら安心ね。
As I answered, I cleaned up the breakfast tray. With that, until the afternoon, I had run out of things that I had to do. From the start, there wasn't much for helpers to do. Medical matters were the work of the doctors and nurses. At the most, it was on the level of taking temperatures and giving support in their daily lives. However, another way to say it would be that there was no upper limit to supporting their daily lives. It was exactly for that reason that it wasn't the doctors or nurses, but the assigned helper who was given the name Aloy.
じゃあさ、食堂にでも行こうか。
でも、さっき食べたとこだけど。
アイスよ、アイス。これだけ暑いんだからさ。
でも。
She made a complicated face and looked down. She must be thinking of something besides politeness.
大丈夫だって。お姉さんおごってあげるから。
And so, as if I were giving her back a push, we headed to the cafeteria. Since it was still morning, there was a scattering of people. Within that, we sat next to each other at the table.
さあ、何でも好きなの言って。
でも。
だから、遠慮いらないって。
As I spoke, I turned to the cafeteria menu.
じゃあ、バニラで。
はい、バニラ了解。私は何にしようかな。アイスって1種類しかないのね。
そうみたい。
これじゃ選択の余地なかったわね。じゃ、すぐ買ってくるわ。
Leaving the girl seated, I headed to the counter. Looking around, children of a similar age as the girl were eating together with their mother or father. Of course, a child of that age eating alone in a hospital cafeteria would be more strange. But the girl's parents were already gone. Of course, the girl didn't know, wasn't allowed to know.
はーい、お待たせ
アイスがいっぱい。
思ったよりサイズ小さかったから一つじゃ寂しいと思ってね。というわけでノルマは一人二つだからね。あれ？もしかしてアイス嫌いだった？
そうじゃないけど、もしお母さんに見つかったら怒られるかも。いつもはアイスはダメって言われてたから。
Saying that, she looked down sadly.
大丈夫よ。お姉さんと一緒だったら。
本当に？
先生や看護婦さんも怒らないから。
わかった。
And this time, she happily extended her hand towards a spoon. It was probably a given, but since coming here, she likely hadn't eaten any. However, someone of this child's age, there was no way they could hate ice cream or chocolate. While pondering that, I watched the girl eating, and after just a few spoonfuls, once again her hand stopped.
どうかした？
そういえばお母さん、最近は全然お見舞いにも来てくれないの。以前は毎日のように来てくれてたのに。
そう。
Beyond that, I couldn't say any more. There was no need for this child to know. At least, in my case, it didn't seem like I would be able to tell her. Your parents are long gone. You, all alone, from here on, will go to the 7th floor. There was just no way I could say that. And sadly, I learned that it was a very common thing, leaving behind only the patient, the family disappearing. There were probably various reasons, financially, psychologically. I thought it was a very heartless and cruel act, but I couldn't rise to unilaterally blaming the parents. Leaving behind a child on a sickbed and disappearing. No parent would do so willingly. Beyond the cliched words of being worn out from giving care, their agonies and burdens must have been great. I just felt this world was sad. And once again, I learned that it was another part of reality.
どうかしたの姉さん。
なんでもないわよ。それよりも、ほら。よかったら私の分もあげよっか。
でも。
いいから。遠慮しないで。
Moving girls' already finished dishes aside, I replaced them with my own dishes of ice cream.
おいしい？
このアイスおいしいね。
Saying that, she showed me a smile. The usually reserved girl smiled for the first time for me. For a hospital cafeteria's cheap vanilla. The first time, she looked at me with a happy face. A few days after, the burning sunlight and the sound of cicadas. Today, I also headed to the girl's place. The other day, she had been transferred to the 7th floor, but nothing in particular seemed to have changed. So, the greatest worry now was the question about her parents. I had no confidence in how I would answer that. Good morning.
今日も暑いわね。
I exchanged greetings with a nurse friend. How is it? Already used to here yet?
もともと5階でも個室だったしね。
The here that she spoke about was the 7th floor, and used to was, of course, not speaking about me. Could it be that you were together all night?
まあ、補助ベッドで寝るのは慣れてるから。
Really, when there's no guardians around, it's difficult in many ways, isn't it? At the words, I give a big nod. And by the way, what she was hinting at with how there were no guardians around, what she hinted at was that it wasn't that they had vanished without a trace, but that they were no longer in this world. The cause of death was something the head nurse didn't tell me. I was only told that it wasn't an accident or sickness. The remaining possible causes of death were but one. And that was why no more was asked by either of us. Even in this modern age, for us Catholics, it was a great sin and a forbidden act. Well, if there's anything, just say, okay?
ありがとう。おはよう。どう具合は？
今日はいいみたい。
As always, the girl raised her upper body in bed and looked over me. And I sat down in a folding chair next to the bed. Then, just like that, we spent most of the whole day together. From the window, the bright sunlight shone on her profile. Once in a while, we would talk about little things. That was our usual appearance.
今日も綺麗なお花ね。
Decorating the windowsill were a number of small flower vases. In them shone bright whites and yellows.
看護婦さんが飾ってくれたの。
そう。よかったわね。
As I answered, I added water to the vase of yellow geberas, while the girl happily watched my actions. From a glance, it was a scene of a common, everyday hospital room. However, the truth was different. In reality, visitors' flowers for the girl didn't exist. Since there are no relatives, there is no one to bring them. But at this hospital, especially for the 7th floor, someone always sent flowers. That was the nurses and us helpers. Everyone on the floor shared in it. And when even that wasn't enough, some were selected from the flower beds. That was also another part of the job. Even for the people who had absolutely no visitors, it was a situation where we made it so that there were always flowers.
ガーベラが好き？
でも、白い方がもっと好き。
As she spoke, she pointed to the other vase, at the white lilies. Generally, as vitacine flowers, the scent was too strong. This vase wasn't one that we prepared. But I could imagine who the sender was. A person who would send such a gift. there weren't that many.
教会って人が飾ってくれたの。
どうやらお越しになられたようですね。
また来るって言ってた。
The girl happily answered that she liked lilies. Most likely, it was a priest or a sister who had come to visit. Considering the girl's circumstances, it wasn't surprising that the church would do something like that. Even for people who were not of the faithful, they were included without distinction and with a merciful spirit. In a way, it was exactly like this place. But for this girl, she probably didn't understand it much. Even if both parents were Christians, the girl herself had not been baptized and was young and innocent.
そういえば、お父さんとお母さんのことだけど。
At the sudden question about the parents, I jumped. This was the thing I worried about the most.
遠くに旅行に行ってるんだって。だから、しばらくお見舞いにも来れないって。
Who said such a thing? I swallowed down the words in immediate question. Perhaps a doctor or a nurse. There was also a chance it had been a priest or a sister. But no matter who it was, it didn't seem like I would be able to contradict it. To speak of this lie, to say that we simply shouldn't lie, that it is an evil, I wasn't childish enough to believe that would be the end of this matter. I didn't know who had said it, but their feelings were probably the same as mine. If someone from a long distance were to find an excuse to condemn this act, I would want them to teach us who are directly in contact with things some other way. If this act were to be called evil, then all of us, I suppose, would be evil people. Going along with the lie would probably mean I was an accomplice.
お母さん早く帰ってこないかな。いつもね、プリン作ってきてくれるんだよ。で、お姉さんも一緒に食べようね。
楽しみね。
Beyond that, I couldn't find any words to reply with. It was just against that intense pressure of being able to say nothing. I couldn't help but string together whatever words I could.
そうだ。ねえ、食堂行きましょうよ。
でもさっき朝ごはん食べたとこだよ。
いいから。またアイスおごってあげるから。
Once again, as if pushing her from behind, we headed to the usual hospital cafeteria. Then Nello and Aloy became friends. Really, it was closer to being patrash, but we are unable to die with him. That's why I was Nello's number one best friend, Aloy. But continuing to hold secrets, could I really be called a friend? And also, the fact that a girl herself would soon be dying. Just how long must that be concealed? A few days after, today a clear summer sky also spread wide. Under that sky, today the two of us went out into the courtyard.
今日はちょっと暑いね。
じゃあ、そろそろ戻ろうかしら。
もう少し外がいい。
As she spoke, she turned a happy face towards me. She had really become attached to me. It probably didn't need saying, but there were no people around of similar age. The majority on this 7th floor were elderly. That was why, even more so, I made to always be near her.
あれ？なんでこの場所はお花がないの？
Before our eyes spread a flower bed. Among the colorful flowers and the green grass that could be seen, only that corner was in a barren state.
もしかして枯れちゃったの？
まあ、そう言えなくもないわね。
そうなんだ。ちょっとかわいそうだね。
As she spoke, she seemed a bit desolate. But that area was for flowers that bloomed in the spring. Having already finished blooming, They were simply gone now, as they should be.
でもね、来月にはまた種を植えるから、きっとすぐに賑やかになるわよ。
わかった。
At those words, she once again answered with a happy face. To that girl, I continued with words that I suddenly recalled.
ここは荒野。だから花が咲くのよ。これはイザヤ書の言葉ね。
And so, I began to explain to the girl how in the 35th chapter there was the passage, "The wilderness and the dry land shall be glad, the desert shall rejoice and blossom, like the crocus it shall blossom."
そして盛んに花を咲かせ。
ちょっとよくわからないかも。
まあ、何もないからって悲しむんじゃなくて、何もないからこそ喜びも生まれるって意味かしら。
へえ、お姉さんってすごい。
別にそんなことないわよ。
For some reason, the girl was impressed, but I denied it.
所詮、私は経典や聖者の言葉を知っているだけで、別に自分自身の言葉じゃないからね。
じゃあ、お姉さんって物知りなんだね。
そういうのには詳しいかもね。
博士？
博士か。そこまでじゃないけど、なんかいいわね。
じゃあ、あれは知ってる？
As she spoke, what she pointed to was a phoenix palm growing in the hospital's entrance.
私、パイナップルの木に思うんだけど。
パイナップル？
すっごく大きいよね。
Well, it's true that they look similar.
ねえ、どうして誰も食べないのかな？
She wasn't joking. I was pretty sure this child was saying it seriously. Should I correct her? Should I agree with her? For just a moment, I debated.
いいところに気づいたわね。実は。あれはパイナップルの木なのよ。
やっぱり。
でもね、このことは絶対に秘密にしないとダメなの。
どうして？
だってみんなにバレたら食べられちゃうでしょ？だから、ああやってもっともっと大きく育つまで秘密にしてるの。
なるほど。さすが博士だね。
The girl answered as if greatly impressed.
あとね、他にこういうのも知ってるわよ。
なになに？
With expectant eyes, the girl looked at me. And facing the girl, I took from my pocket my rosary and
あなたの上に主の豊かな恵みと祝福がありますように。
joining my hands, closing my eyes, I offered a prayer for the girl.
終わったわよ。
今のは何？呪文みたいなの？
呪文か。ちょっと違うかな。
Certainly, if it were a saint or an archbishop, maybe it could have been called a spell or magic. But I was neither a pastor nor of the clergy, just one of the faithful. So it wasn't anything extravagant like a sacrament. It was nothing more than a simple prayer.
じゃあ、おまじない？
そんな感じかな。
That, or just a way to ease the mind. From the start, I wasn't expecting it to be effective. And really, that reason wasn't why prayer existed to begin with.
でも、まあ、せっかくだから魔法でもいいわよ。
わかった。
And then, she showed me her usual bright smile. We who had become friends, Nello and Alloy. Up until now, even though we were supposed to be close friends, I, who could do nothing other than buy her ice cream. Such an Alloy found one more thing that she could do for the girl. wonder if this will be the final chapter, ending on a lucky 13, if so.
熱
Without thinking, the words slipped out. It looked like today was also going to be a true midsummer day, and in that, while heading to the usual hospital, I turned to a different place. The church. Since that day before going to the beach, it was my second time coming here. For some reason, Himiko-san did not try to meet with Chihiro-san. More accurately, it was probably not just Chihiro-san. Family and friends, anyone close, one could believe that she was avoiding them. And so like this, in her stead, it came to Chihiro-san. The same as before, I quietly opened the door. My sweet step in.
千尋さん。あ、節美さん。これ、持ってきた。
As I spoke, I handed over the key I was entrusted with.
姫子さんが渡してくれって。そう。ありがとね。こんな暑い中を。
As she replied and accepted the key, Chihiro-san gave me her usual calm smile. And then, from her pocket, she took out a handkerchief. The sweat that was running down my face, she gently wiped it off.
ありがとう。ね、お姉ちゃんに伝えてくれる？あ、もし必要な時はいつでも言ってねって。うん、わかった。
All while she was speaking, Chihiro-san continued to dab away my sweat.
それじゃ、あ、ちょっと待って。あなたの上に主の豊かな恵みと祝福がありますように。また、私のために。
For that question, there came no answer. Just the usual gentle smile faced me. When I left the church, it was like a deluge of cicada cries. The sun right overhead dropped sharp, black short shadows during the peak of the heat. In the middle of this, Chihiro-san said she would go now to university. And when that ended, she would come again to the 7th floor. Saturdays, she also went to a school for the disabled, and Sundays helped with mass, or so she said. I was sure that compared to people of similar age, she was entirely different. They would pass their time in self-centered and fun ways. This way of life, whether it was only Chihiro-san who followed that path, or if one were a Catholic, it was perfectly natural. I didn't know. Once again coming to the hospital, I followed the white tape running along the floor and headed to the elevator. And on the now familiar 7th floor, I hastened towards the room where Himiko-san was waiting.
どうぞ。いらっしゃい。今日も暑かったでしょう。
Before I could reply, I was caught by something else. At a glance, it seemed that she was in the middle of digging around for something.
ああ、これ？今日は入浴デーだから準備してたのよ。
Now that she said so, I saw that set out around the table were wash basins, shampoos, and the like.
そうだ。あなたも一緒に入りましょうよ。入る？そうよ。一緒にお風呂よ。何がおかしいのよ。今のリアクションは良かったわよ。普段がクールだから余計に。ほらほら、女の子同士なんだから、そんな恥ずかしがらなくていいじゃないの。
I thought about objecting that Himiko-san wasn't a girl, but stopped.
じゃあ、行きましょう。でも、ちょっと。はいはい、いいからいいから。
Somewhere, Himiko-san seemed to be having fun. Like she were poking fun at me and my hesitation. As if she were pushing me from behind, she took me along.
汗も流れて気持ちいいでしょ？
In the end, I was almost half forced into the bath. However, I had thought that it wouldn't be wide enough for us to go in together, but there was enough room for two to manage. Most likely, it had been built with the assumption that a helper or attendant would also go in. But instead of the size of the bath, I noticed something else, and couldn't help but fall silent.
もしかして、珍しかった？
Saying that, Himiko-san pointed at a large scar on her own chest. So large that my own small scar couldn't even compare.
やっぱ私も女の子だからね。これができた時はショック大きかったわ。
I quietly listened to those words. Even if I had wanted to reply, I couldn't think of what to say.
で、ほら、背中流してあげるから、そこ座って。うん、わかった。
And so, together in the shower, she gently washed my back with the towel. I couldn't help but recall how it was like Chihiro-san had earlier wiped my sweat away. For me, I didn't know whether Himiko-san was a devoted Catholic or not, but both of them, without question, I believe were very kind people.
ねえ、ひみこさん、どうして千尋さんを避けるの？
前にも言った通りよ。
やっぱり優しくていい人だから？
まあ、半分はね。
じゃあ残り半分は？
それは秘密よ。ルールにもあるしね。
Rule. That had also been a word from before.
だったら私は優しくていい人じゃないから、お姉さんも親切にしてくれるの。
At that question, this time, Himiko-san also fell silent. And then, after a bit of thought,
特別なのよ、コロッケ博士はね。
またそんなこと言って。
ほら、そろそろ上がるわよ。
in the end, the conversation was avoided. Even without that, Himiko-san's words had many incomprehensible points and were full of secrets. But just maybe, I was being mixed with someone else in her eyes.
もう食べ終わった？ってまたブロッコリー残してる。
だってあんまり好きじゃないんだもん。
しょうがないわね。
Even though previously she would eat them, now she had come to leave them because she didn't like them. But this wasn't like her sickness had turned for the worse and her appetite dulled. It was simply that she was warming up to me probably. Thinking that also made me happy.
じゃあ、はい。体温計。お口で測ってもいいけど、噛まないようにね。
With a smile, the girl held the thermometer in her mouth. What shone on that face, the summer sun, came through windows that could only open 15 centimeters. Today, as I once again sat in a folding chair, she directed a happy face towards me.
そういえば。
こら、危ないから喋っちゃダメ。
In a moment, the thermometer's alarm rang, and I read out the numbers on the LCD.
何度
？6度5分。このくらいなら平熱ね。
じゃあ今日も行きたいかも。
中には？それともアイス？
どっちかな。ちょっと悩むかも。
If there were no problems with the temperature, it would go to either one. This was with the doctor's acknowledgement, and lately it had already become a tradition.
で、そうだ。それよりもね、知らないおばさんに話しかけられたの。
知らないおばさん？いつ？
昨日の夜に。
Who could it be? The people who could come to this place called 7th floor was, in its own way, supposed to be restricted. First there were patients, and the families that come to visit. Then there were the doctors, nurses, and us helpers. Other than that, rarely, only the priests or sisters would come. That was supposed to be it.
誰かのお見舞いの人かしら。
パジャマ着てたからここの人だと思う。
That was a bit strange. Sure, in a normal ward, the mingling of patients was common. Once in a while, from a chance meeting in this place, even lifelong friends or business partners would be made. But this 7th floor was different, because everyone was aware of their imminent death. Mingling between patients was almost unthinkable.
それで、 何を話しかけられたの？
何回目って聞かれた。
何回目？
初めてだったら教えることがあるって。
なんて答えたの？
よくわからないって言ったら、また今度って言われた。
What could that be all about? Come to think, there had been a rumor I heard, how among only the patients on the 7th floor, a legacy continued to be passed down, of rules and the like. Of course, I didn't believe it. And when I asked my previous assigned people, of course they denied it. But if such a legacy really existed, just what on earth were they passing down?
お姉さん？
ごめんなさい。
Without meaning to, I had been staring into space.
じゃあ、今日は中庭にしようか。ほら、珍しく今日は天気もそれほど暑くないし。
アイスも惜しいけど。
だったら中庭でアイス食べましょう。
Great idea. Even if it was cool, it was midsummer. No matter how much wind there was, the sunlight itself was strong. That was why, leaving the girl on a shaded bench in the courtyard, I dashed to a neighborhood convenience store.
お待たせ。
With the ice bought from the convenience store in hand, I ran back.
すごい汗。
熱っ。
Because of the flowing sweat, without thinking, I flattened my skirt. Dashing in this midsummer, sweating was to be expected.
ほら、まだ溶けてないわよ。アイス。
ありがとう。
大丈夫よ。
It was a 60-yen pouch of soda ice. With an exaggerated flourish, I took out the contents to show her.
じゃーん。
2つになってる。
それ。はい。半分こね。
Under the blazing summer sun, the two of us ate soda ice.
やっぱアイスは暑いところで食べるのが一番よね。
ちょっと溶けてるけど。
As we spoke about that, we ate. In the flower bed before our eyes, pansies and gerberas bloomed proudly. The winter use area from the other day, even that would most likely have something planted in it again.
で、またあれやってほしいかも。
いいわよ。じゃあちょっとアイス持ってて。
Both hands of the girl held one ice each. One was mine, and the other was hers. I took from my pocket the rosary, and as always, brought my hands together quietly.
私たちが人に許すように、私たちの罪をお許しください。
The Lord's Prayer, also called Our Lord, probably anything would have been fine. It was simply that I thought of her, and if she was happy with that, then it was enough.
もう終わったわよ。
ありがとう。
いえいえ、大した魔法じゃないですから。
In the end, I was simply one of the faithful, and it was nothing more than an imitation. It probably didn't need saying, but none of those words were my own either.
今日のは誰の言葉なの？
もちろんイエス様ご自身よ。
じゃあ他の人のもあるの？
すっごく偉い聖者様とか教皇様とかたくさんの人の言葉があるわ。
へえ、そんなにいっぱいあるの、お姉さんは知ってるんだ。
To the girl who seemed impressed, I gave a nod. Of course, I didn't know them all, but reading the things related in a way to the gospel was my intention.
で、そうだ。ねえ、あげようか。
As I spoke, I once again took out from my pocket the rosary.
いいの？私がもらっても？
私はもう一つ持ってるし、何よりこれで一緒にできるようになるわよ。
できるって、私にも魔法が？
魔法かどうかは知らないけどね。
Holding the rosary in her hand, the girl looked happy. Normally, patients on the 7th floor are admitted and discharged a number of times. But for the girl, there was no home to return to. That was why she was always here. That was why I, too, was always by her side. Nello and Aloy met, and soon it would be the 2nd month. Normally, it was the time that a first discharge would have come. Nope, I guess we've still got a whole other column of chapters to go through, so... Well, guess we'll stop here. As always, hope you're doing well, and take care.